fabulous teachers. How are you? All right, if you're excited to be here this morning, just give the person next to you a high five. Please tell them welcome, good to see you. All right, beautiful. So before I even introduce myself, we're gonna get warmed up. All right, we're gonna play a game called Connect. You will walk around the room. I will then call a body part. You will have 5 seconds to connect with a person using that body part. And then I will pause the music and I will ask you a question. You will carry on conversation. And then we'll move around again, connect to another body part. You cannot connect with the same person twice. Okay. Is that clear? Yes. Yes. All right, so let's stand up. We're going to get moving. Feel free to dance while you move. Feel free to move your body, shake your body. All right, let's go. Shaking my body. No. Okay. All right. Elbows. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Do we all have an elbow? Excellent. Here's our first question for today. How are you feeling? How are you feeling today? Go ahead and talk to joy. You can turn around and talk to your partner. for today? Go ahead, talk to your partner.
You know what, I actually have really excited about like fifth grade teachers, they were just like shouting out or whatever. But these to me are so incredibly exciting. And I try to find at least something that I can learn
You're right, excellent. Please give the person that you're with right now a high five, and let's return to our
There is an elementary teacher there, but
choose to use this with your children, please use the clean version of that because it's not very good. But it's fun, right? Because we're walking around. All right, hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Kemba Ludeskar. I am an 8-year teacher of theater in South Ozone Park, Queens, PS 108. I actually initiated a program there. I was supposed to be a music teacher, believe it or not. I studied music my entire life, got into the school and realized that there was already a music teacher. But it's a big school, so they were willing to hire another one. However, I saw, wait a minute, there's no theater program. And so I went to my principal and I said, why not start a theater program? And I just gave her the information, the benefits of theater, and she was like, go ahead. And I'm like, okay. So, YouTube was my best friend, Drama Notebook, my best friends, until I went back to school to get certified as a theater teacher. So it's such an awesome pleasure to be here. I have firsthand experience about the benefits of theater. I'll give this testimony really quickly. I had a student, his name is Liam. His mom gives me every right to use his name. Liam was that kid that the cops would come into our school for every Monday morning, throwing chairs, right? Hitting teachers, things like that. And when he was introduced to theater, Liam had changed. He was able to memorize lines. He was able to become that character and that person that nobody else saw, right? How is Liam able to get 4s in your class? That's what the teacher would say, and 1s in mine. I'm like, well, he's doing the work and he's very good at it. Multiple opportunities that student needed. And so he's a testament of the power of theater. We were supposed to do Beauty and the Beast before COVID hit. He was supposed to be Lumiere. Was so amazing. I wish I could show you a video of our rehearsals. We didn't get to do the actual show, but during rehearsals, he was the most spectacular thing that you can find, So just great testaments of what theater can do in our students, all right? So we're not going to get started. Before I introduce my lovely, amazing, I call her my mentor, but there's so much more to her. She's going to introduce herself. Helen.
My name is Helen Wheelock. The point of today is we're sort of pairing a teaching artist with a classroom teacher. Because the world of the teaching artist, which I spent 30 years doing, is you walk in, you're like, you're the fun person, okay, bye. So we're trying to find those tensions between what works for one moment and what works consistently. You're with your young people all the time. So it takes a different kind of energy. And also recognizing that when I waltz in and something new happens, doesn't necessarily mean that it's repeatable. There might be a strategy, but you have to find your own voice for it. Today we're looking at classroom management, student engagement. You all have been in the classrooms for a while. So before we move forward, I'm going to ask you to reflect on just what happened from the very beginning in terms of engagement strategies, management strategies, hook strategies. Just turn to your next door neighbors, your new best friends. Just talk about from the very beginning, like when you walked in the room.
Oh, here?
Yes, this space. What are you reflecting on that were strategies that were used? Just turn to each other.
Today?
Yeah. thing that you noticed or observed or participated in that was sort of an engagement strategy or a management strategy?
On our feet.
Come again?
We got on our feet right away.
There you go.
No time for boredom. Yeah.
So a little bit of
Right away
tempo
engaged.
and
Right.
transition, yeah.
Be greeted when we arrived.
And pause.
Gave us,
Copyright.
gave us a time warning before we were gonna transition.
Got us talking with different people than we came in talking with.
The high five, just high five.
So one of those things is just, sometimes young people are just shuffled through the entire day. They just don't know where they're going or why. Often they don't get a chance to talk to each other, right? They're told to shh all the time. So no wonder it explodes when they get a chance. They get a lot of don'ts. Don't run, don't talk. We know this. So our job is to find out what we can do. Don't touch each other. Oh, actually, yeah, we can. Just thinking about that. And the and pause is created because y'all were talking and engaged. So I could have yelled, quiet! But I'm the one, and we're the ones who asked you to be noisy. And you were engaged. So how do we say thank you for being engaged? We've got to move on. As opposed to stop being noisy.
And pause is like now, don't. It's not like stop. It's like it's just a break. Like you might be able to continue.
Completely.
Cool. All right, awesome. So continuing on classroom management strategies, I would like you to reflect on the last 3 days being in your classroom. And we're going to use this room sort of as a barometer. On this side is going to be I use a lot. In the middle is going to be I use sometimes. And on that end, never. I never use it. All right? So classroom strategies, okay, that you have used over the last 3 days. I use a lot, I use sometimes, I never use. So I will call the classroom strategy. You will stand up and you will move yourself to where you think you are. All right, are we ready? Yes. All right, let's start with conflict resolution techniques. I use a lot, sometimes, never.
Or along the continuum, yeah.
Sorry.
Everybody's
Turn to the people, group of 3 in front of you. Examples, why, how. Just talk to each other.
I've been using like a lot of safe spaces, kind of like it out, like I don't know how to grade. So it's a different set of strategies, but now I do use them. I think it's not just
For me, it's sometimes like I have this conflict in my head where it's like, do I stop what I'm doing to address? Would it be better for me to continue the flow? How severe is the situation right now?
Right, yeah.
So quick question, but a quick poll. It's not political. If you agree, stay standing. If you disagree, just squat. Conflict is bad.
Disagree is squat.
Disagree is squat. And relax. I just offer that because so often conflict is considered bad. Conflict is the center of theater. Disagreeing and arguing is okay. So what is healthy conflict and what is unproductive conflict? So as we think about classroom management and engagement, even with us, just chewing on that. Cool.
Awesome. And would anyone like to share a strategy that you've heard that you really think stands out? Maybe you'll use that in your toolbox. Something that you've heard from someone? Any strategies?
I think like just like giving kids the space to like talk it out together, like even if it's like away from the group, just to give them that time to.
Got it. Yes.
Chew on it. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Sweet. All right. New barometer, you ready? All right. New barometer. All right. Yeah, all time. What? Never. I'm intrigued by this. Using technology for management strategies.
For management strategy?
Yep. Define technology as you see fit.
Yeah. Sure.
I love this question because as a person who worked in early childhood, it's like, oh no, technology now. Also working in the schools for 30 years, technology. Because yeah, you set it up and over. So I'm interested in the folks who are like, yeah. Because again, I asked you to define technology as you see fit. So what are some of the strategies that you all use using technology for classroom management and engagement? Yeah.
I put my whole lesson on Google Slides, so I can quickly click any video, anything, every part of my lesson's on there.
Yes.
So it keeps the flow going.
Everybody,
Yeah, no hesitation.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's, yeah, I do that. Don't be judged. Any other strategy? Yeah.
I do, like I have them interact at least one time, if everything's working, through, in the lesson, like, so they can give some feedback, either through Google Classroom, which they have to know, and like some, you know, for me, when they're like, oh, they can't log on, that's like such a myth, like, they're online all
the
day.
time. Yeah.
So it's like, come on, quicker, like, they like it, they're like, who, you know, trying to get them to just interact with it, in a sort of like effortless, trying to make it more effortless.
That's awesome.
I use a Google form at the end of a culminating performance in class for students to reflect and self-reflect and give themselves a score, and then it's all there, and they can like also share, you know, not just a number, but how they thought they did.
Sweet. And I'm just going to say, for the younger kids, there's a magic of microphone.
Yeah, I do it, yeah.
So you can actually hit a
Or
little microphone on a
be
Word
allowed
doc, or, you know, I'm old school.
Yeah.
But, and speak. The young people can speak. Yeah.
Can I just ask a question about the Google form?
Yeah.
Where do you send it to?
I send it to their Google Classroom, but I also have it open on 5 iPads that I have. So if they don't have a device, it's ready. They don't need to log on, they can just do it.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yep.
I have nonverbal kids.
I just
so-
realized.
Hold on a second. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I have nonverbal kids, and our routine, which is what helps structure my class, a lot of the like responding to vocal warm-ups, things like that. Everybody has individual iPads, so they very much love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My school really likes using Class Dojo.
Yeah.
So that
We're
helped.
like-
That helped.
I
That
know
helps.
some of us are going, what's that?
Yeah, like where you get to give them a point or a class point. I'll sometimes join another classroom where I either have drama points, or then other times if a teacher doesn't use it and I see that the class needs it, I'll make my own with them, and then they can work up to rewards if they get a whole, class this many points, and they can have like a dance party at the end of drama. Things like that. Also, it lets me do the random picker for their names, which is helpful for me because a lot of mine are very passionate about having a turn, and they only have me once a week. So if they didn't have a turn, I'm like, we're using the random picker. You're gonna get a turn eventually.
Sweet. And lastly, what technology did we use in this session?
Music.
Just saying. Technology is, yeah. Cool.
All right. So for our next one. Again, use a lot. Sometimes. Not so much. Did I do it like you, Helen?
Yes.
Was that great? Oh.
And remember, it's last 3 days. We're just thinking about that because you don't use everything all the time.
All right. Managing challenging behaviors. And while you're there, you can turn and talk. Just how do you do that? What strategies do you use?
Pretty good past 3 days. What ages are there?
It has been helpful to find the kids who are, and it's not all of the kids, but it's been helpful to find the ones that are super into technology. Because I can kind of need that. Their job is to manage the checklist that I make when I walk into because I push in for half my classes. Their job is to manage the checklist for flow or set something up or do attendance for me or whatever. That tends to help a lot with some challenging behaviors. And now I have, we go up to 5th grade, but he's in 7th grade now. He comes back every year now officially to run my ticketing program for the murals.
So structure with them so that we start with the warm up or we do a polling video, then we do a lesson, then I get out the physics, and that's their review.
One more time.
And pause.
All right, I just really want to know from someone in this group, can you please share what is a strategy that maybe you use or maybe you've heard, you just learned about?
And I'm going to add the caveat for what kind of behavior, because
Yes.
challenge behavior, like I'm a challenging behavior. But just thinking about being really specific.
Yes. Yes.
Well, September is like kind of a challenging month with kindergarten. And you know, it's like so many things. You never know.
Try 3K.
And she had the idea of, but the ratio there is better. But with kindergarten, you're on your own. And so she had the idea of when you got that hysterical kid, they get a stuffed
support French fries.
stuffed French fry for the kid that like can't even. You know, you just give them the emotional support.
I stuffed and it's stuffed and squishy, and so I say, would you like to hold this? My fry needs some support, and that usually helps calm them down. And the little smiley face on it, they really like it.
Exactly. Is that kind of like in a cozy corner
I
setting?
do. I have a cozy corner too
Okay,
to set up for kids who need managed, like in a timer, and they have like different fidgets and things they can use to like calm them down.
Absolutely.
And then with a kid who is like oppositional, like I always use like that ABA method. So it's like, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Like, you know, sometimes it doesn't always work, but we try.
I love it. Yes.
Well, I have a
Thank you.
student that's incredibly physical, maybe like your Liam. He's a big kid, he's a 4th grader, and he's been suspended already 5 times this year. He's hit me, he just runs very hot, but you know, I think there's something he's staying at home. But I'm trying now to prevent it from happening, so like he likes my special office, my special chair. So now if I see he's running hot, I'll have him sharpen like 500 pencils for me. And it's like, but it's like something special that he's doing like away from everyone else, and honestly, it's kind of the only thing that's working right now. Like I'll give him a very specific job and he gets to sit at my desk, and that way he's away from the kids and still like in the class and doing something. I don't know if that would be like one that we'd write down and share with everyone, but right now it's working for me.
You just leadership game. Yeah, they love those leadership roles, so I'm all for that. Yes,
I feel
thank
like
you.
I'm gonna turn into a furniture store because I've gotten really into like bean bags.
Yes.
Like I actually I'm on like the neighborhood buy nothing groups, and like when there's like a couch, I'm like, well, this couch, can I carry it up the driveway? I'm like, the room isn't that big, but I'm finding, and even in this climate of just New York City, political, everything, people really want to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, and I like beanbags, so I call them special seats. So I rotate, but like everything's going on. I'm like, okay, did you get the purple seat last week? So I feel like I need a chart, but the special seats are really useful. And then the PE teacher gave me these like really cushy mats. I'm like, great, I got 12. It's gonna be like a furniture. It's gonna be like, I don't know, they're never gonna get off the floor.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anybody have one more burning?
Something I've been
idea?
doing is I teach elementary, so I've been doing an audience behavior barometer across all the classes. So it goes from 1 to 10, red to green, and like if the audience during a share is being chatty, I'll move it to the red, and then I don't do any sort of reward or anything, but I kind of just guilt them and I say, well, now for the whole school, you guys got it moved to red. Like, let's see if we can get it back to green. And like, then they'll come in the next class and they'll see, oh, someone got it to green. So it's kind of just like a little
cool.
competition. I don't know. It's working. So.
That's awesome.
Can I see a picture of this?
Thank you.
Yeah, I just printed it out. Like,
and,
numbers
and
1 to
just
10.
because you notice that there ain't nobody over there.
Right.
Because oddly enough, they're young people.
Yes.
And things happen. And they come in, and I think the challenge always is how do we keep on going with the young people who are together versus the one person who's like having a day. And I appreciate the phrase running hot because it's not a judgment. You know, we've all had times when we're not being the best person that we could be, and they're young, and we're ancient, and we still haven't figured out self-regulation. So building those strategies, I have a friend who used to say every day, the class starts, everybody starts with an A. So you let go of what happened last time. Even though inside we're like, oh God, here comes this class. Let's be honest, right? But just thinking about how, and sometimes we have that class that was going to be the class that through the entire year is going to push all the buttons that we have. But ultimately we're trying to figure out how can we support them to support us. Yeah.
I also think in this discipline, a lot of the things that would be considered misbehaviors in another class are not in theater. You know, we don't always require silence. We don't always require sitting down or sitting still. And so that's something too, which sometimes is why maybe there aren't as many misbehaviors because talking is not a misbehavior, but also I do find that some groups you have to rein them in when you give them that freedom.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that thank you for just echoing that, which is why it can be challenging because sometimes outside educators will be like, oh, you're just the fun people. Like, no, we are working our, it's a physically, you're only seeing 700 kids in a week. So what's your problem? But also setting up the framework, I remember a friend of mine said, this is what goes in my classroom. So even setting up the boundaries between this is a theater class. When you go to another class, it's not necessarily going to be that. So let's just recognize this is the space for this. That's the space for that. Different classrooms, different teachers. Can you handle chaos? Can you not? That's your own stuff. Should we do one more? Yeah. All right, one more. What am I going to do? I'm going to through this one, establishing classroom expectations. You don't really do that. Oh, you can sometimes. And thinking about, did you do that in the last 3 days with your kids? And I always do that. That was a lot of physical movement. All right, throw me out an expectation. Just, somebody raise your hand and say, one of my expectations is, yes?
Safe spaces for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Define a safe space.
When somebody comes up to do something, you give them the time, you give them the respect, and you give them, you're listening, not hearing.
Mm-hmm. Anything else we want to add to a safe space? Yeah.
I was just going to say safety. Like,
safety.
They know that we use the stairs. We don't jump off the stage. We stay in our bubble. We protect our bubble.
Yeah, I often say no blood.
Safe body.
Yeah.
Always ask for permission to touch someone else.
That's a relatively new thing because I'm a hugely touchy-feely person. Yeah.
The safety to take risks and feel comfortable and not be afraid that someone's going to laugh at you or mistreat you or
And that's why the language has moved from safe to brave.
Yeah.
Yes. Because stuff happens. So how do we celebrate? What's somebody messes up on a zip zap zop and they were like, again! Yeah, like, well, you messed up, you messed up, great, you get to start it. They're like, oh, okay. So we're not like, oh, you screwed. But how do we celebrate anything? Yeah. Anything else that's safe? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, Glenn, no one put on. Oh, we got to say safe.
You decide your level of participation, but within that level of participation, you have to respect everybody else's choice.
That grown-up thinking for little people and for tall people too. Because also we're not always there, right? We're thinking like, oh great, I have to go to vote. Wait, sorry, what? Our brain does that. Yeah.
Within the auditorium, we have very specific stage space, and I teach them all, the parts of the stage and audience behavior and the things that are expected within the framework of being in an auditorium or a theater.
Yep. Cool. Any other?
One more.
Yeah.
Celebrate each other's successes. So if someone's getting picked and they're not picked, instead of going, "Aw," just kind of thinking about, we're excited for them, just like you want them to be excited for you, and you get a chance to get up and show something.
So kind of adding on to all this, I just basically say consider the feelings of others by what you say, using kind words, and what you do, having a safe body.
So one of my expectations is for myself to always greet student by name, like as they enter my room. I think it's my mom. So little story. Someone called me the wrong name for a year, and I never corrected them. And my mom was like, "You never corrected. Like, how did you? Your name is so important." So I think it's really important to make students feel seen. And how can I expect them to be brave if I'm not considering their name and how they're coming into my space?
I think that space entry, that transition, we'll talk about later, but is huge. So, and I appreciate that you're saying expectations of ourselves and expectations of them. Sometimes it's very one way. Yeah.
I put an expectation on myself this year that I will maintain my peace at all costs. And so I took a really great training over the summer about restorative circles. It was like a week long. And so every class we begin with a circle. And the kids have a chance to tell us how we feel. There's a different directive. We talk about breathing. We talk about all these strategies to help with art, being a better artist. And so it's really helped the way my room runs this year and how they respect and listen to one another. And so it's been like a double win, and plus it's kept me so calm.
And I think I guess again honoring what works for you and what works for your young people, but this idea of landing in a space and not rushing. And I think that's a little bit of freedom that we have, except of course when we're doing a show, we're like, oh God, we have to get everything. But like we get to say what it is we're going to do or not, if it's not working, or just let it go. But landing and ending. What's that? And don't forget tomorrow we have a test on the thing. Yeah, there was I took a training many years ago about executive function, and I transitioned like that. I'm like, whoop, okay, boom. Other folks are like, wait, I have to. Yeah, okay, we're doing what now? Let me finish this. That's why and pause is helpful. It lets you finish what you were saying before you move on to the next. And not everybody's on the same.
Yeah.
Race. Yeah? Give yourself a little.
I just want to ask a question. How many of you so far learned something that you can take into your toolbox going back into your classroom? I want to encourage you to write it down. I don't know about you.
Can we write it down?
The time I leave here, I
moment,
write down. So let's take a moment to just write down a strategy or two that you are going to take back.
I got pens if you need them. And little stickies.
Just to write down something we took with us.
So basically, besides the bubbles, like, I know like mine has like
She met the sister of the one in Miss Lynn's class. There's a lot of them. Emily O. She's little bit
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
I already did that.
Exactly.
Just take another minute or so. And I'd encourage you to, when we move into our next, not session, it's the same session, but just walk with your phone or your paper and your pen and just kind of keep jotting as we go through. I always say the same thing. I just love your
Oh,
thank you. Like so much rose gold.
It was rose gold and it came pink, yeah.
How are you?
He's really Judy.
Just because I want them to understand.
They're so bloody two friends.
So affectionate.
That's so sweet.
I know. Good. Oh, did you hear this?
They raise your hand.
For the show.
For anything. So say you did like like zip that drop, and I would like to nominate Scott because I saw his eye contact was so great. I did after warm up, it's a creativity. It was like and then you see them like kind of smile, like they enjoy that. For the moment, I don't get
Alrighty. And as the kid said, not pause, but pause. So we're going to do a quick transition into the next activity, just thinking again, as you're reflecting on what we did, what were strategies and engagement strategies that we used. Just thinking about that. Now we're going to invite you to stand on up. And you're going to group yourself according to whatever thing I say. I have the power now. And you also can make the decision, if you lie, you lie, I don't care. Group yourself according to the borough or area you live in. Group yourself according to the borough or area, because some people are upstate, mid-state, New Jersey, and find your people, go! Find your people!
Brooklyn, $5.
Excuse me.
All right. And
according to the sports that you will willingly watch on TV, the one sport that you will like, yeah, I'll watch that.
Ice skating.
You might find that you're like, oh, here are my people. Over here we have the
Olympics.
Okay, because why?
Swimming and gymnastics.
Yeah, because I read that over there. Yeah.
Gymnastics.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
gymnastics.
Gymnastics. Okay.
Where's soccer?
Yeah.
Soccer.
Oh, soccer. Oh, soccer! With all my people, we're going. We're going out to see the Gotham. Okay. Yes. Baseball. The Yankees lost. No politics.
Go Dodgers.
Skating and gymnastics.
Yeah, we look over here, and here we got
Football.
I know, it's just horrible. Like I grew up with it, and I know how bad it is for the human body. But my mom and I used to love to do it. Yeah.
Nothing. And I'd like him to tell everyone his reason for not.
Because they're playing a game and getting paid more than I am.
Unless you are the baby. Okay. True. Last thing is, and I think they're 20. We're going to find out. Group yourself in groups of 3.
Wait, you didn't.
Oh, sorry.
Basketball.
All right, basketball. There it is.
Sports ball, Rob.
All right, group yourself in groups of 3. Okay. Just 3.
Someone else.
A lot of us has to leave.
I'll go over here. She can say. You can say.
Now make groups of 6.
Oh, come back.
You might have to break up, I know.
We need one more.
Okay, that's because we have an uneven.
That's fine.
Now, groups of 8.
But
We're the
That's right.
4 times 2.
9.
All right. And the last one we'll do groups of 7, just because we're gonna just see 7. So maybe 4. We got like 4 groups. And pause. Let's all say that. And pause. And because math is imperfect, it's not every class is going to divide equally, but just an activity to figure out how to group people. Yeah? All right.
All right. We are going to. Do you want to sit where you are? If you do need a chair, feel free to pull that chair. But yes, we're going to be sharing at this time, so just get comfortable. All right, if you can make your group just a little smaller because we're going to be sharing. So, all right.
Circle up, circle up.
Sorry. All right, we'll bring the block over. Do you need help? All right, so we're going to get real, right? When I mean real, share your heart, because this is the space where we can get and learn and just get feedback from our colleagues, right? Who understands each other better than us, we're theater people. So we're going to talk about a few things. Our first topic, where are you being most challenged? Where are you being most challenged? And not everybody may get a chance to talk. Some people may do better with just offering that support, right, to another person. So we're going to start off with that question. Feel free to start, share. Doesn't have to go in any order. But where are you being most challenged? Yes?
Is this specific to the topic of classroom management?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and one leads to
Yeah,
all
sure,
the other things.
but
But yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this is where we get, this is our human bulletin board. And we go, this is where, what can I do? What are options? Go ahead.
I'm gonna go kindergarten. Raise your I asked my principal if I could not teach kindergarten last year, and she said, no. So I thought we could ask parents, and I was like, well, parents of the kids.
Where it's overstimulating and it's in the afternoon after lunch. Once we get into that, they like
We do rewirings.
to get there because we're arriving on time.
So it's like, I find like
Places and
how people
we're trying different things.
once they play that game.
When they put them in a dual language class, it's very overstimulating for some.
So we have 3K for the first one, and they're literally baby. They're in diapers. My son's and yeah, and we also
to do beer.
Oh yeah. And we also have not only that, we're expected to do learning lunches, whether they eat a theater activity, but we also have a huge influx. I mean, it's new English language learners, but they're literally new to this country and do not speak one word of English, not one. So, I mean, every class there's there's like a mega challenge in every single class. In Brooklyn. Yeah. Close, yeah, South Slope, but it has kids from Sunset.
Acting out some body
They actually will focus on that and they want to do it.
Yeah, and Spolin Show Without Words is like a good write-up of like different pantomime games.
Thank you, guys.
What am I eating? It's like guaranteed with kindergarten or first grade. Like, what am I eating? Like, you just pretend you're eating. Like, someone will start guessing. And then once they've locked it in, you can put any kid on stage. Even in the auditorium.
With the little ones, I also do pass the puppy.
Pass the puppy.
It's pass the puppy, pass the sword. So it's like the puppy you're really gentle to. This is for little ones, you know. And I'm like, you gotta catch the cat, please.
That's where their body follows. So yes, kindergarten is a whole group. It is exhausting. You're putting in your aerobic steps, you know. And I think there is something about when we have that, like, we're going to build these theater skills. Keep it simple for kindergarten. Call a lot of call and repeat. I do a short ton of call and repeat. So songs and chants. Right? Because like my and everybody has a call and repeat. Again, it's call and repeat. They don't have to learn. They repeat after me. Oop, and then we, you know, okay, then we do a thing, and then they tell me what to the movement. So you are allowed to spend 10 minutes just singing back and forth a song. Don't rush yourself and don't rush them. Because they're not. And they are going to be, they're little round balls, free-eating arms. They can't. It's slow, it's not in their body.
Like there's just nothing satisfying and I try so kind of along the same lines, but the apathetic nature and the disrespect of the students, who like fourth and fifth. Anyway, like wow, friends, wow, what? Okay, like what is going on? Yeah.
So I don't keep continuing, but while everyone is speaking, if you have a solution or if you have something that offers support to that other person, just think about it as well while they're talking. Okay, so that you can share out.
We make a class contract for, like at the beginning of the year, we made a class contract. So they came up with the ideas, I charted it, I put it on chart paper, and then you can remind them, this is what the contract was, we have to keep our contract. I mean, it's another way for a strategy, I guess, a way to set limits in it. You can pull the class contract back out. I guess it's reinforcing societal the right thing to do, It's not going to solve all the problems.
Especially for the older ones. For me, I had to find out what their interests were. A lot of times they like to rap. They are like, I like to incorporate that into me. So I had to do that and give them a little bit more choice. And then I found that they were more engaged, so they wanted to do that. Because they sort of changed. So I think it's really like listening to new students in the beginning. And throughout the year, just really getting to see what their interests are. And then they get to experience. And that helped me. That turned a bad situation into more of So yes, it's the beginning of the rap. Right, so the music aspect is at the beginning of every class. I do something called the imagination exercise. I connect it to culture, so I would play Diwali type music, because we just celebrated Diwali. Everybody would have to come in. My lights are off. I have those flashy lights on, and they're moving around. A lot of them don't even know what Diwali is, some of them, but they're still moving their bodies, they're imagining, right? And then they share out. That's immediate engagement. They come into my class, they don't have time for any type of disruption, they're just into it. And so that's one aspect. And that's performance related, right? So let's say we're doing something on Martin Luther King. Turn that speech into a rap, right? Get your own music, and those things hook them. And so it's just really finding out what their interests are, especially for the older ones. For your situation, I do a welcome song right away. Right away. I used to do the imagination exercise until it wasn't working for them. And Kelly had suggested it's just a call and repeat something, and they're engaged immediately as they come in.
And pause. Let's all say that. And pause. One more time. And pause. And I'm going to shout out the gentleman in the beautiful plaid shirt, just because at the very beginning he said, can we connect with people that we connected before we leave the space? So one of the things I've learned for classroom teachers is it's very lonely as a theater person. You are the only person in the building, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, fun. So, and I think there's a push to build a more sense of community, like borough-based, either where I live or where I teach. That's one of those pushes that Peter is saying. But just to remember, it's like, is there somebody that you're like, oh man, can you share your number? Well, just make sure that we take some time after, before we move to the next one, just to connect with each other and say please. And you might never ever text them, but at least there's a sense of that. Yeah? Yeah. So, big question I have for you all to just talk about, because often people come in from the outside in and observe a class, and we've already talked about what happens in our class versus what happens outside. The difference between classroom management and student engagement. I'm just going to say that one more time. What is the difference between classroom management and student engagement? Just sit for that for a second. And think about, again, your class, your students, your school. And this can expand maybe a little bit outside of your classroom to how the entire school body is. The difference between student management and student engagement. And I'd love for you to just use that as a platform, just think like, what are your thoughts about that? What are your discoveries about that? Yeah, go ahead. Do you? Last one about the student.
I think actually, sorry, if you for the routines and like how you them like with the flow of what your lesson. I think that's more about engagement. It's by just different and on their break, the people
and for me, I noticed like I feel like how they're like not super clear. That's when so we're trying to but if literally from the beginning and what we're meant to be doing and like there was like an expectation then it's like okay great then I can do that and so like for me that was a really big shift I feel like I had to make which maybe somewhere beginning like my first and second year was like instead of just like putting out the fire you know figuring out what the problems are going to be and participating in that. Just like, so let's look at like what are they actually being asked to do, or so not do, and then like and like basically create an environment where like I'm not tempted to
like one sometimes I have kids that they want to run on the stage or they want to do their own thing, and I'm like, do I leave the rest of the students who are here and engage, especially if I don't have help in that classroom? What do I do? So sometimes it's offering that support on the side, but then I have to return to the rest of my students, and it's learning to be okay.
Yeah, and that was a huge one for me because when they changed the way they graded us, I haven't had a highly effective since, and I am like a type A personality where I was like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? And it's been like having to release that need because I know that what I need kind of rooted on isn't actually really even right for special needs kids or theater. So, you know, like, okay, fine. I'll do everything I can as long as I don't get like, okay, you have to go back to school.
I think also what we do is really special and what we do is really unique.
So how can you control that chaos while keeping them on the road? That's all I
What you're saying is there's going to be all kinds of behaviors. Trying to address them all is a challenge. Somebody said the word pivot to you. Yeah, like because if you have a plan, if the kids like you're like, okay, I'm losing everybody. Being able to like pivot and be like, okay, this isn't working. I'm going to do something else totally different. You know, and if they get re-engaged, then pivot all the time. Yeah, you have to. So funny. I like to say, this is an experience. Try it. Yeah. Are we gonna fly today? Are we gonna crash tomorrow? Simple, like some of the stuff we were talking about. My school doesn't start until 3rd grade. That's the youngest grade in our school. So a lot of what you're talking about with kindergarten, it's not the same. It's not all that different either. That they like need like a way, like you were talking about taking your time, which I love. And when you have to really sense it when they get restless and when it's like, okay, next activity.
Absolutely. I mean, I think taking time meaning like just if it's like one, I sometimes have like 3 activities, but you know, it's not going to be happening that day. We get through half of one, and I don't want to feel like let down.
to see that too, right? Like, okay, we were supposed to do A, B, and C. We only did A, but that's okay. Like allowing them to see you, like, I didn't reach my goal today. Like, and allowing them that.
I have the first period, there's breakfast.
Yeah.
Just getting breakfast. We're trying to come up with a faster plan.
I hate teachers who do the breakfast period.
And then I have like, I only have like 1 or 2 teachers that are like, we do this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be, no, just sort of like I will say something, but I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but like I don't have a room yet. So I push in and then, yeah, but it's okay, it's not the worst, and I can sign out the auditorium. But like I do a lot of bilingual teaching. A lot of our kids are bilingual. We don't speak Spanish. And then I continue to speak English. I don't come into your class and tell you how to speak. Yeah. Right? And like a lot of kids are like, I don't speak English. It's not. She's like the dialect. So it's like very old school. Like I just can't even believe it's actually that. Yeah, just trying to like.
Especially with the not knowing what's happening, to have it at the end, like the question mark, like this is the part we get to if there's time, and you get to input what we could do and take your suggestions, right? So I think that's something I just started trying to do, like at the end of every class, the open, like we have time to do the extra, the improv, or the, oh, can we play the stop block game again? And I'm like, well, that wasn't on the agenda, but I'll tell you what.
Let's all say that.
And pause.
One more time.
And pause.
So what I'm hearing also is a lot of diversity within our classes and within our schools and within ourselves. And the last question I just want to throw up there is a little of the image I have sometimes with classroom management is like they're there and I'm here. And I'm going to invite you to consider yourself as a young person, where you grew up, where you didn't grow up, maybe you moved around a lot, who taught you, not necessarily always in the classroom, and think about what you have absorbed consciously or unconsciously about the culture of classroom management behavior. Like, who are you? And I'm going to say, I'm an incredibly white Anglo-Saxon Protestant girl. I was well behaved. I moved around a lot, so teachers were my friends. I didn't have, so I was like a teacher pleaser. That's my thing. On the flip side.
And I was made to behave. Coming from Trinidad, they were allowed when I was younger to actually beat you. And so we were not allowed to talk out of turn. We were very suppressed. If I did, we would get hit. We would get beat. That was the culture. So it was a lot of no, do this, do that in my culture.
And how has that manifested in your teaching?
So I had to consciously shift because that was.
You didn't beat the kids?
I didn't.
Missed opportunities.
I was very close. I remember when I just started, no, not very close to beating them, but I remember, no, this is a true story. Oh my gosh. One time, a kid was just really wilding out. I mean, a 5-year-old cussing at me, spitting, doing this. And I grabbed him and I said, and then I remembered, you're not in Trinidad. And then I told my dad, he was like, they would lock you up.
Yeah.
Right? So it has been a shift in my thinking, shift in coming away from those embedded things that I went through and how I now put it across to my students.
And I think part of it is it's not all bad. Like sometimes we're told we teach the way we were taught, and sometimes we have to unlearn the way we were taught so that we can teach. So just thinking about who you are, how you were, reflecting on those last 3 days, where has the old you popped up? And what things have you been working on to adjust or make shifts? Yeah, go ahead.
It was a heavy one, Helen. It just got really quiet. Well, yeah. It's like,
son's group, and they're like,
Actually, just for class, class will pay the messages, and I can be nice and then sort of if you can, well, I see that.
If you're getting that at home, how are you breaking that in school? And I feel like that, at least in my neighborhood, is a challenge in terms of like, where does the friend authority figure sort of not blur anymore, or should it not? I don't really know.
I felt like, because I went to Catholic in DC and did DC reads and all my student teaching there. And just my experience, like stepping in as a tutor, like in the middle of the day, was such a different culture than anything that I had ever seen or ever been used to. And before you start, they said that to train the tutors, they're like, this is going to be a different environment than what you grew up in. And you can tell, like with the kids at school, the kids at home, it's all, I always just felt like it was such a big thing to work against, like to get them to, if it's time to stop hitting the kid next to you, why should they listen to you? What makes them not do that anymore?
I feel like the teachers that like I said, yeah, and you kind of have to, right? Like, because you can't do it. We also have a lot of if you want to go individual,
So they were like, how are we
and he jumps off things. He makes noises, like he'll just kind of that's what he does. He just is like, what about the all the time? And one day he came in and it was like my son went to it was like he looked at me and then he took off his shoes and he like went up onto the table and he was like, Spider-Man! And I'm gonna tell my friend, he was like, my favorite thing. I like, corrected it. And oh my God, I don't know why I did it, but I went over there and I went, and he went, and he just like stayed there for like 30 seconds. And he just wanted, like, so I've learned that about him. Like when he's doing that, he's just living in Winslow. I'd be like, I know, and so now that's how I begin. All these very entertaining, hi, and then I go, okay, sit behind me, and then sit, and then I go, okay, hi. And that worked for him. And I mean,
What I did was I just had like 3 kids sit per desk, and I went to every single teacher and I said, group these kids by like levels, like low, medium, high, and behavior-wise, and we have it, and then the behaviors like work so much better, and there's still space to act.
I'll say one more time for that kid who's still talking over there. Oh my goodness. How many of you are super grateful for the knowledge, the expertise, the advice, the suggestions, the help of your fellow theater teachers, right, your colleagues? I hope that you've learned a lot today, and I thank you for being a part of this session. You want to say something, Helen, before?
I just have a huge amount of admiration for you all. I've often said as a teaching artist, I was a sprinter. Like you, and then you all are running marathons. And I think if you acknowledge that and recognize that there's some days that the hill's like, holy crap, and the other days you're like, I got this. That it's okay, and that I will, before we do our last thing, I will just remind everybody, it's like, make connections and keep connections. You're not alone. they know what you're talking about. Your admin doesn't.
Mhm.
And it's not their fault. There's like so much. But being able to be this, like, can I just have a 10-minute conversation? Makes all the difference.
Yeah, so as you exit, please, if you would like to write one nugget that I will take back into my classroom is, right? Feel free, we have some markers there, you just jot that down. And then one nugget for our beginner teachers, right? We are actually going to take this to our beginner teachers. They would be so super grateful, right? Just share a nugget, something, anything about classroom, is it management or? Engagement, right?
Yes.
And you leave that for them today. All right, can you give yourselves a hand?